Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, Brandon Wynn, back again with Critical Failure, and it's been a while since I've done one of these style videos, so let's just get straight into it. We're on the Green Dragons, and not gonna lie, these guys are like the tricky, deceiving assholes. Like, if you're imagining like the epitome of deception in a dragon form, it'd be these guys. They're dicks. They don't really care how they manipulate or use someone as long as they can get a leg up and continue whatever escapades they are. They're going to do it. So let's get straight into the lore. The most cunning and treacherous of true dragons, green dragons use misdirection and trickery to get the upper hand against their enemies. Nasty-tempered and thoroughly evil, they take special pleasure in subverting and corrupting the good-hearted. Kind of what I was saying. In the ancient forests, they roam. Wow, that's a weird place to put a comma. In the ancient forests, they roam. Green dragons demonstrate an aggression that is often less about territory than it is about gaining power and wealth with as little effort as possible. Like, if they can use people to, like, get the upper hand, like, imagine, like, a king or queen, they just deceive them and they continue growing power through that, and they kind of force them with, like, destruction to basically, not necessarily worship, but to continue serving this dragon, and they're going to do it. A green dragon is recognized by its curved jaw line, and the crest that begins near its eyes and continues down its spine, reaching full height just behind the skull. A green dragon has no external ears, but bears leathery spiked plates that run down the sides of its neck. A wormling dragon's thin scales are a shade of green so dark that it appears nearly black. As a green dragon ages, its scales grow larger and lighter, turning shades of forest emerald and olive green to help it blend in with the wooded surroundings. Its wings have a dappled pattern, darker near the leading edge and lighter towards the trailing edges. A green dragon's legs are longer in relation to its body than with any other dragon, enabling it to easily pass over underbrush and forest debris when it walks. With its equally long neck, an older green dragon can peer over the tops of trees without rearing up. So, like, they have longer legs and they have long necks, so that way, like it said, they can peer over treetops. I think it would be really interesting to see these things to where, like, even with an ancient dragon, the trees are so tall and so ancient that it, even if it pokes its head up, it's not going to be able to see over the trees. That'd be one really cool area to be in, kind of like the National Redwood Forests or whatever the hell that's called. I think that'd be pretty cool. Mainly, like, the older it gets, you would expect it to be, you know, damn near omnipotent of its own area. Capricious hunters. A green dragon hunts by patrolling its forest territory from the air and the ground. It eats any creature it can see and will consume shrubs and small trees when hungry enough, but its favorite prey is elves. I can use that to my advantage. Green dragons are consummate liars and masters of double talk, so basically they're going to find a way to manipulate you. They're going to say something and it's not actually going to be what they say. They're always going to manipulate the hell out of you. They favor intimidation of lesser creatures but enjoy more subtle manipulations when dealing with other dragons. A green dragon attacks animals and monsters with no provocation, especially when dealing with potential threats to its territory. When dealing with sentient creatures, a green dragon demonstrates a lust for power that rivals its draconic desire for treasure, and it is always on the lookout for creatures that can help it further its ambitions. Again, like kings, queens, party adventures, stuff like that. A green dragon stalks its victims as it plans its assault, sometimes shattering creatures for days. So imagine, like, it could be tracking a behir, stuff like that, to where they can attack and basically catch it on its surprise. Sometimes shattering creatures for days. If a target is weak, the dragon enjoys the terror of its appearance evokes before it attacks. Never slays all its foes, preferring to use intimidation to establish control over survivors. So if you're attacking, like, a party and you're determined to kill people, leave, like, one or two alive so they can spread the tale. I think that'd be pretty cool. Or you can use this as a backstory. Like, there's a dragon that, like, killed one of the party members' former parties, and basically he or they have, like, a huge issue with dragons, or that specific dragon, and that could be like a PTSD type of issue that they have to learn to overcome, or in terms of anger or fear, and they have to eventually face this dragon. That'd be pretty interesting. It then learns what it can about other creatures' activities near its territory, and about any treasure, to be found nearby. Green dragons occasionally release prisoners if they can be ransomed, otherwise a creature must prove its value to the dragon daily or die. Like, I don't imagine a jester would be any fun here. Personally, I could see like a beholder teaming up with one of these things for a time being just to really fuck with something. Manipulative schemers. A wily and subtle creature, a green dragon bends other creatures to its will by assessing and playing off their deepest desires. Any creature foolish enough to attempt to subdue a green dragon eventually realizes that the creature is only pretending to serve while it assesses its would-be master. Yeah. When manipulating other creatures, green dragons are honey-tongued, smoothed, and sophisticated. Among their own kind, they are loud, crass, and rude, especially when dealing with dragons of the same age and status. Conflict and corruption. Green dragons sometimes clash with other dragons over territory where force crosses over its into other terrain. I thought it said territory. A green dragon typically pretends to back down, only to wait and watch, sometimes for decades, for the chance to slay the other dragon, then reclaim its lair and hoard. Green dragons accept the servitude of sentient creatures such as goblinoids, ettercaps, ettins, kobolds, orcs, and Yuan-ti. I think Yuan-ti would be a pretty cool one. It's kind of similar to their serpentine-ish thing. Fuck, I lost where I was. Oh, they also delight in corrupting and bending elves to their will. Green Dragon sometimes racks its minions' minds with fear to the point of insanity, with the fog that spreads throughout its force reflecting those minions' tortured dreams. That's kind of fucked up. Like, it's like, imagine you're, like, walking around in this thing's lair, and then you just start seeing, like, ghosts and apparitions of, like, horrifying visions of, like, your family being slaughtered or some shit. That'd be pretty weird. Living treasures. A green dragon's favorite treasures are sentient creatures it bends to its will, including significant figures such as popular heroes, well-known sages, and renowned bards. Among material treasures, a green dragon favors emeralds, wood carvings, musical instruments, and sculptures of humanoid subjects. That's very strange. Unless it, like, transforms into, like, polyforms into a creature, I don't understand why it would care for musical instruments, but hey, maybe it wants to be a bard in another life. The lair. Because I'm already not talking enough. The forest-loving green dragons sometimes compete for territory with black dragons in marshy woods and with white dragons in some Arctic taiga. You know, that's actually pretty cool because, like, could these things, like, start turning into, like, a weird green and white color or a black and green color, like, to match their possible, like, territories in such areas? However, a forest controlled by green dragons is easy to spot. A perpetual fog hangs in the air of the legendary green dragon's wood, carrying an acrid whiff of creatures' poison breath. The moss-covered trees grow closer together, except where winding pathways trace their way like a maze into the heart of the forest. The light that reaches the forest floor carries an emerald green cast, and every sound seems muffled. That's actually pretty cool. Like, imagine, like, you're walking into this, everything's, like, really green tinted. It's, like, kind of poisonous to breathe. Like, it doesn't necessarily hurt you, but it's just, like, it just tastes like chemicals. And you're talking, and you have to get really close to each other just to hear each other. It's like talking through water. At the center of its forest, a green dragon chooses a cave or sheer cliff or hillside for its lair, preferring an entrance hidden from prying eyes. Some seek out cave mouths concealed behind waterfalls or partly submerged caverns that can be accessed through lakes or streams. Others conceal the entrance to their lairs with vegetation. Makes sense. Now we're at the very tail end of the bit of the lore, which is like lair actions and such. On initiative count 20, losing initiative ties, the dragon takes a lair action to cause one of the following effects. The dragon can't use the same effect 2 times in a row, as per normal. Grasping roots and vines erupt in a 20 feet radius, centered on a point on the ground that the dragon can see within 120 feet. That area becomes difficult terrain, and each creature that there must succeed on a DC 15 saving throw or be restrained by the roots and vines. A creature can be freed if it or another creature takes an action to make a DC 15 strength check and succeed. The roots and vines wilt away when the dragon uses the lair action again, or when the dragon dies. Like, imagine you're fighting this dragon and you're, like, getting real close to it as it lands, and then the lair action pops up and kind of, like, grabs you. And it's, like, holding your arms and your legs, and you're kind of useless with your sword. Like, you have to just straight break through these things. That's pretty impressive. Even if you're weak, just being able to find a way to break that would be pretty interesting. A wall of tangled brush bristling with thorns, springs into existence on a solid surface within 120 feet of the dragon. The wall is up to 60 feet long and 10 feet high and 5 feet thick, and it blocks line of sight. When the wall appears, each creature in its area must make a DC 15 dexterity saving throw. A creature that fails the save takes 48 piercing damage and is pushed 5 feet out of the wall space, appearing on whichever side of the wall it wants. So basically, you can either be on the side of the dragon or the side of your party or wherever the hell you want to be. A creature can move through the wall, albeit slowly and painfully. For every 1 foot the creature travels through the wall, it must spend 4 feet of movement. Furthermore, creature in the wall space must make a DC 15 dex save on each round in its contact with the wall, taking 48 piercing damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Each 10-foot section of the wall has an AC of 5, 15 hit points, vulnerability to fire and resistant to bludgeoning and piercing damage, and immune to psychic damage, because it doesn't have a brain, that's why. The wall sinks back into the ground when the dragon uses this layer action again, and when it dies, like everything else. Magical fog billows around one creature at the dragon can see within 120 feet of it. The creature must succeed a DC 15 wisdom saving throw, or be charmed by the dragon until initiative count 20 on the next round. I don't know why that would be a charmed effect. That's kind of weird. Like, at all. That doesn't make any sense. But you know what? I'm not the one that made this. Regional effects. The region containing a legendary green dragon's lair is warped by the dragon's magic, which creates one or more of the following effects. Thickets of Labyrinthine passages within a mile of the dragon's lair. Like, they just form. The thickets act as a 10-foot high, 10-foot thick wall that blocks line of sight. Creatures can move through the thickets. With every 1 foot, it costs 4 feet of movement. A creature in the thickets must make a DC 15 save each round that it makes contact with it, or take 3 average 1d6 piercing damage from the thorns. Each 10-foot cube of thickets has an AC of 10, 30 hit points, resistant to bludgeoning and piercing, vulnerability to fire, and immunity to psychic and thunder. Thunder is added this time. That's interesting. Within a mile of the lair, the dragon leaves no physical evidence of its passage unless it wishes to, which I would use that to, like, basically make it be more manipulative, like try to lead things into traps and such, and assault the party with that, maybe leading it into, like, the manipulated underlings and such, or, you know, acid pits. That'd be pretty interesting. Rodents and birds within a mile of the lair serve as a dragon's eyes and ears. Deer and other large game are strangely absent, hinting at the presence of an unnaturally hungry predator. The dragon dies, the rodents and birds lose their supernatural link to it. The thickets remain, but within 1d10 days they become mundane plants and normal terrain, losing their thorns. That's a fucking lot to read, Jesus. Now on to the stats of the ancient green dragon. It's a gargantuan dragon, lawful evil, AC of 21, natural armor, hit point average of 385, 22 d20 plus 154. It has a movement speed of 40 feet, a flight speed of 80 feet, and a swim speed of 40 feet. It has a strength of 27 plus 8, dexterity of 12 plus 1, constitution of 25 plus 7, intelligence of 20 plus 5, wisdom of 17 plus 3, and a charisma of 19 plus 4. Its saving throws are dex plus 8, constitution plus 4, wisdom plus 10, and charisma plus 11, meaning that I think that's, a 7 for proficiency bonus. Its proficient skills are deception, 11, insight, 10, perception, 17, it'd be plus 7, persuasion plus 11, and stealth plus 8. It's immune to poison and being poisoned. It has blind sight up to 60 feet, so being fucking invisible does nothing to the son of a bitch. It has dark vision up to 120 feet and passive perception of 27. It speaks Common and Draconic. I was about to say Commonic. And it's a challenge rating 22, 41,000 experience points. It's amphibious, so it can breathe air and water, and it has legendary resistance. Honestly, at this point, you don't need to know what legendary resistance is. If you do need to know, check out my other videos that are from, pretty important creatures like the ancient blue dragon. It has multi-attack. The dragon can use its Frightful Presence when it makes 3 attacks. It then makes 3 attacks, 1 with its bite and 2 with its claws. Up to you on how you want to do it. I typically mix and match. The bite, it's a melee weapon attack, plus 15 to hit, reach of 15 feet, 1 target only, average 19, 2d10, plus 8 piercing damage, plus 10 average 3d6 poison damage. I would up that up, honestly, because it's a fucking ancient dragon. It would have honed its abilities to have like a really powerful poison. It has a claw attack, plus 15 to hit, reach of 10 feet, one target only, 22 average, 46 plus 8 slashing damage. Its tail attack is a plus 15 to hit, reach of 20 feet, one target only, 17 average, 2d8 plus 8 bludgeoning damage. Honestly, if there's like a couple creatures in like a line when you're using the tail attack, I would like make the AC kind of go up, or the attack drop down a couple points. So say it's like there's an AC 15 creature and then a 13 next to it, and you roll like a 20, like, you know, it hit both of those, like, and it keeps going down because it loses momentum. I think that'd be pretty cool. Frightful Presence. Each creature of the dragon's choice that is within 120 feet of the dragon and aware of it must succeed on a DC 19 Wisdom saving throw or become frightened for 1 minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of its turns, ending the effect on a success. If a creature saving throw is successful or the effect ends, it's immune to the dragon's Frightful Presence for the next 24 hours. I personally think that you shouldn't have that out on an Ancient Dragon, but that's just me. Poison Breath recharges on a d6 roll of 5 or 6. The dragon exhales poisonous gas in a 90-foot cone. Each creature in the area must make a DC 22 Constitution saving throw, taking 77 average 22 d6 poison damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. Legendary actions. The dragon can take 3 legendary actions, choosing from the options below. Only one action can be used at a time and only at the end of another creature's turn. Spent legendary actions recharge at the end of the turn cycle. It can use Detect, which it basically does a perception check. That's one use. There's a tail attack. It's one use. And then the wing attack, which costs 2 of the layer actions. The dragon beats its wings. Each creature within 15 feet of the dragon must succeed a DC 23 Dex saving throw or take 15 average 2d6 plus 8 bludgeoning damage and be knocked prone. The dragon can then fly up to half of its movement speed. The green dragons are probably one of my favorite. Like, I really like the black, blue, and green. Given what they are, the red's just kind of dickish and the white's just primal. I really enjoy the manipulative scheme of the green dragons the most. So, and I am putting one in my campaign. So I'm very excited to see how that works. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. This was kind of a longer video, and hopefully, you know, it actually does pretty decent. So please leave a like and subscribe to this channel if you want further D&D stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.